Okay, so this is a recorded video for performance substantive testing. So when we say substantive testing, ginagawa po ito after your test of controls. So previously, na-discuss natin na dapat mauuna muna yung test of controls. Bakit? Kasi sa test of controls, dito nyo ma-identify yung tinatawag natin na level of risk. Okay? Yung basis ng yung level of risk na tinatawag natin, yan yung magiging basis natin kung ano or paano natin ipe-perform yung substantive procedures or substantive testing. Okay. So for this handout, we will be discussing two substantive procedures. Number one is yung test of details. Pangalawa, yung substantive analytical procedures. So, simplihan lang natin. Pag sinabi nating substantive details, ibig sabihin, yung general ledger account, sisilipin mo kung ano ba yung mga laman ng mga yan. Okay? So, syempre, ginagawa ito sa actual practice sa computer, sa report, 'di ba? Pero, since wala pa kayong experience na gano'n bagay, ang madalas na tinitingnan natin is yung T accounts. Okay? 'Di ba sa T accounts, doon ninyo nakikita kung ano yung pumapasok sa isang general ledger account. Okay? So, si auditor, titignan niya kung tama ba na or valid ba yung mga nakalagay sa per ledger account. Yun po yung tinatawag nating test of details. Next, pag sinabi naman nating substantive analytical procedures, okay, ano ba tong analytical procedures? So, pag analytical procedures, di ba, ginagawa yan sa pagtingin ng mga amounts sa inyong balance sheet at income statement. Okay, ang analytical procedures is silip lang. Okay, isang tingin, kita mo na may mali. Okay, paano mo masasabing may mali? Kasi because of your knowledge as an accountant, naging expert ka na. Okay? Minsan marirealize mo na, itong account na to, dapat related siya sa ganitong account. Itong cost of goods sold, related siya sa accounts payable. Yung sales, related siya sa accounts receivable. So, kahit papaano, medyo meron ka ng knowledge as to the relationship ng one account to another. Okay? So, ganun yung magiging analytical procedures mo. Another thing is kapag ito yung net income, okay, titignan ko magkano ang income tax. Okay? So, analytical procedures. Ganun po yung paggawa ng analytical procedures. Okay. So again, irrespective of the assessed risk of material misstatement, the auditor shall design and perform substantive procedure for each material, class of transactions, account balance, and disclosure. So gayon, yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina. Yung assessed risk, malalaman mo po yan sa test of controls. Malalaman mo ano bang level of risk ang meron tayo. Pag mas mataas, ibig sabihin yung substantive testing na gagawin mo, dapat mas mabusisi. Pero kapag mababa lang yung level of risk, yung substantive testing na gagawin mo, since okay naman yung kanilang mga internal control, hindi ka gagawa ng substantive testing. But compared to um, yung maximum, medyo nasa mid-level ka, normal lang. Okay? Considering the nature and timing and the extent of audit procedures. So, nature. This refers to the purpose of the substantive procedures, their type, that is inspection, observation, inquiry, confirmation, which is magdi-discuss natin sa, I think, page number 2. Okay? So, sa substantive procedure, again, it includes test of details and your substantive analytical procedures. Okay. Pag sinabing substantive analytical procedures, more applicable to large volume of transactions that tend to be predictable over time. While your test of details, since mabusisi nga yung test of details, usually, ginagamit po ito kapag malalaki yung amounts at konti lang yung transactions. Okay? Next, timing. So, kailan ba ginagawa yung substantive testing? It depends. Okay? Si auditor pwede siyang mag-schedule. Usually, interim yan. Interim in a sense na, pag sinabi kasi nating interim, before the year ends. So, ibig sabihin, yung audit na yung January to, sabihin mo mga June. Tapos, yung July to September. Interim ang tawag doon. Inuunti-unti. Hindi isang bagsakan at month end. Okay. Next, extent. This refers to the quantity of specific audit procedures to be performed. So again, it is based on the judgment ng auditor. Based doon sa kanyang assess level of risk na tinatawag, which is makukuha ninyo yan sa test of controls. Okay? What else? So, depende sa level of risk. So, ang auditor, pwedeng ang gawin niya is pwedeng substantive analytical procedures lang kung medyo mababa yung risk at medyo marami yung transactions, doon tayo sa substantive analytical procedures. Pwede rin namang test of details lang yung gagawin. Test of details, okay, malaki yung amount, tapos kukunti lang yung laman ng general ledger account or konti lang yung transaction. Or pwede rin both, okay? The substantive analytical procedures tapos test of details. Depende nga again yan kay auditor. Okay. Next, punta tayo sa evaluating the sufficiency and appropriateness of audit evidence. So pag sinabi nating sufficiency, more of quantity, okay? And your appropriateness, it relates to your relevance. We say that it is sufficient if from the number of evidence that we have gathered, kaya niyang suportahan yung magiging opinion natin regarding sa financial statements. When you say appropriateness, more of qualitative kasi ito eh. Yung sufficiency, quantitative, diba? Pag sinabi nating appropriateness, yung mga nag-gather mo bang evidence is or related ba siya doon sa assertions na pinapatunayan mo? Okay? Related ba siya doon sa account na pinapatunayan mo? For example, prepaid expense ang ino-audit mo. Tapos, ang meron ka ay mga sales invoices. Oh, related ba yun? Hindi. Kasi ang sales invoices, ano yung pinadala mo sa customer, di ba? It's more of receivables and sale. Prepaid expenses, gastos to. Cost to, di ba? So, dapat ang hahanapin mo is vendor invoices. Pwedeng ganon. Okay. Next, punta tayo sa audit evidence. So, audit evidence is what the auditor use to arrive at conclusions. Ang main goal po ng inyong audit ay yung tinatawag nating auditor's opinion. Pagdating sa finals, madidiscuss po natin yung auditor's opinion. So again, prescribe po ng PSA na hindi pwedeng basta-basta ka na lang mag-provide ng opinion. Okay? Since you are an expert of this field sa auditing, syempre, yung opinion mo is magiging basihan yan ng ibang tao para gumawa ng sarili nilang desisyon. Hence, ikaw as an expert, you must be careful in providing opinion. Okay? So, para maganda or maayos yung opinion na ibibigay mo, kailangan meron kang evidence. Para kayong imagine ninyo, di ba? Ang judge, papakinggan niya both parties. Okay? Iwi-weigh niya yung pros and cons. Ano ba yung sinasabi ng kabilang party at another party. Okay? Expert siya sa pagdating sa pag-analyze at pag-inspect ng evidence. Okay? Yun yung magiging, pag after niya ma-analyze yung mga evidence, yun yung magiging basis niya ng pag-provide ng court order. So, ganun din sa ating mga accountant. Kailangan meron tayong evidence or basis para magbigay tayo ng auditor's opinion. Kasi, kapag tayo ay hindi nagbigay ng or hindi natin ginawa yung trabaho natin to gather the right evidence, mali yung magiging opinion na bibigay natin at yung decision ng mga people na nakadepend sa opinion natin will be affected as well. Okay? So, what are the most common audit procedures na ginagawa ng isang auditor? Number 1 is inquiry. So, pag sinabi nating inquiry, interview. Okay? Tatanungin mo kung sino yung mga knowledgeable persons. Okay? So, usually, ang kinakausap natin dito, yung pag sa accounting, yung mga nagpa-process ng mga invoice, receivable, sino nagko-compute ng tax. Sometimes nagtatanong din tayo sa mga treasurers kung magkano ba or saan napupunta yung mga excess funds natin, saan din i-invest yan. Pangalawa is inspection. When you say inspection, records, titignan mo. Okay? Titignan mo kung ano yung mga papeles or supporting documents. Pangalawa, observation. Okay? Titignan mo kung paano ginagawa ng accountant yung kanyang trabaho. Okay? Nakabantay ka lang ba dun buong maghapon? Usually mga 30 minutes. Titignan niya paano ka nagche-check ng invoices, paano ka nagpa-process ng receivables, paano ka nagpa-process ng refunds. Okay? Confirmation. So, confirmation is ginagamit natin to if meron tayong balanse sa ating financial statements that needs ng confirmation ng another party or third party na tinatawag. For example, bank for confirmation. Sinabi mo na ang laman ng iyong cash and cash equivalents ay 1 million pesos. Yung 1 million pesos na yan is composed of 800,000 cash in bank. So, dapat, para ma-confirm mo, mapakitaan ka ng passbook. Yung passbook, galing po yun ng bangko. Dapat ang laman ng passbook mo, 800,000. Pero sometimes, you go above and beyond. Diba? So, ang ginagawa mo, hindi lang yung passbook ang tinitignan mo, but rather you call the bank and with the authorization ng inyong auditee, is tatanungin mo kung ano yung balance ng kanilang pera as of a certain date. Okay? Next is recalculation. Consists of checking the mathematical accuracy of documents or records. It may be performed annually or electronically. Okay, so i-recompute mo. Like for example, taxes. Reperformance. So reperformance, it's as if ikaw yung accountant, ano yung gagawin ng accountant if ikaw yon. Okay? And analytical procedures, we have discussed this. It is analyzing relationship among financial and non-financial data. Okay. Next. Accounting records generally include the following: records of initial accounting entries and supporting records. Okay? So, ito yung supporting documents ninyo. Your invoices, also your contracts, your general and subsidiary ledger. Ano ba yung general and subsidiary ledger? Okay. Yung general and subsidiary ledger, usually, ito yung tinatawag ninyong T accounts. Okay? Pag subsidiary ledger, usually, nasa sales, AR, cash, accounts payable. Kanya-kanya sila yung mga special accounts natin. Your journal entries are in your general journal, and your other adjustment are also in your general journal and reflected dyan, of course, sa inyong financial statements. Okay. Information to be added as audit evidence. So again, pag sinabi nating relevance, qualitative characteristics to. Yung evidence na meron ka, related ba or may connection doon sa audit assertion na hinahanap mo. Okay? Reliability. Yung information ba na na-obtain mo or yung audit evidence na na-obtain mo is galing ba yan sa tamang source? Reliable ba yan? O baka mamaya pinotoshop lang yan tapos pinaprint sa labas tapos pinaresend sa'yo ni accountant. Kanino ba nang galing yan? Okay? What else? Discuss na natin yung iba dito eh. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Selecting items for testing to obtain audit evidence. So, ito ang pinag-uusapan naman natin dito ay sufficiency. Okay? Quantitative naman. So, ito yung mga ways kung paano tayo nag-obtain ng audit evidence. Number 1, selecting all items or 100% examination. This is impossible. Okay? Unless may budget yung company at may time para mag-audit si auditor. Usually, pag 100% audit yung tinatawag, matagal po ito. Very impossible, bihirang-bihira tayong gumagawa ng 100% examination. Kasi ibig sabihin, lahat ng transaction sa i-audit mo, di ba? Okay. Sana kung maliit lang yung kumpanya, okay lang yan. Pero kapag malaki, ay good luck kung kailan ka pa matapos. Okay? Next is specific items. Okay? So sa specific items, say for instance, high value or key items, yung malalaki lang yung amount. Pangalawa is all items over certain amount. Like for example, nag-audit ako ng accounts payable. Ang hahanapin ko lang na invoices is yung mga invoice na 20,000 and up. Kasi immaterial na sa akin kapag 5,000 eh. Kasi malaking value yung client ko eh. So yung 5,000 below, hindi na yun material sa akin. Or ano ba sinabi ko kanina? 20,000 and below, hindi yun material sa akin. Ang material sa akin is 20,000 and up. Okay? Items to obtain information. So, auditor may examine items to obtain information about matters such as nature of the entity or the nature of transactions. Okay, like for example, magkano binayaran natin kay BIR. So, doon mo makikita magkano ba yung income tax. Okay? Next, audit sampling. Pag audit sampling, ibig sabihin, nakadepende ito doon sa inyong risk of material message statement as well. Pag audit sampling, again, hindi to 100%, but a certain percentage lang. Like for example, sa accounts payable, sobrang dami ng pinrocess ninyong accounts payable or binayaran nyo sa buong taon. Ang kukunin ko lang dyan, magra-random testing lang ako ng around 30%, okay? That's the number that I require para masabi ko na um, hindi materially misstated yung accounts payable. Okay, based on percentages. Okay. Next, audit documentation. So, nature and purpose of audit documentation. Okay, hindi lang tayo basta-basta audit. Gumagawa din tayo ng paperworks. Okay, kasi usually guys, kapag kayo ay engage into a publicly listed company, yun yung auditin ninyo, magpapasa po yan ng papers sa Securities and Exchange Commission at saka sa BIR. If in case nagkaroon ng concern dun sa financial statements na inaudit mo, kasama po kayo sa ipapatawag sa korte. So, syempre, para ma-defend mo kung natama yung trabaho mo, kailangan meron kang audit documentation. May basis ka kung ano yung naging opinion mo regarding their financial statements. O sinabi mo sa opinion mo, oy, walang mali yung financial statement. Tapos, meron pala. Okay? So, kailangan meron kang supporting document para if in case ikaw ay ma-implead sa kaso, meron kang panghahawakan. Okay? So, audit file. Usually, ang audit file is provided 60 days from um, provision ng inyong auditor's opinion. Ano pa bang contents nito? Yung contents and extent of your audit documentation. Siyempre, ano yung mga procedures na ginawa? Ano pa? Kung sino yung may responsibility. Like for example, the management has the responsibility for the financial statements. Okay? Ano pa ba? Yung nature ng work na ginawa for the client. Okay? And what else? Matters arising after the date of the auditor's report. So again, yung auditor's report natin, it only supports kung ano yung end of period na nakalagay sa balance sheet date. Kasi yun lang yung inedit natin. However, if the auditor knew something na nag-exist after the date of the auditor's report na outside doon sa inyong financial statement date, pwede niya rin po yung ilagay kung sa tingin niya it will be relevant sa decisions ng kanilang stockholders or shareholders. Okay. Assembly of the final audit file, 60 days from the date of auditor's report. Okay. Punta tayo sa related parties. So, ang pinag-uusapan pong related parties dito is si auditee. Ano yung mga related parties niya? Okay? Usually, related parties po ito ng board of directors at saka key officers. Okay? Kung meron man silang mga subsidiary at affiliates, kasama din po dito sa related parties. Okay. What else? Using the work of internal auditors. Okay. So, ikaw ba as an auditor, gagamitin mo yung work ng internal auditors ng company na in-audit mo. So, ang question dito is that, yung internal auditors mo ba bias or hindi? Kasi remember, your internal auditors are employees of the company that you are auditing. Siyempre, kung you will take it against the company, maaapektuhan sila. Pag pinasara mo yung company nila because of your auditor's report, kawawa din yan kasi empleyado sila. Okay? So, it depends again sa decision ng external auditor kung gagamitin niya yung work ng internal auditor. Usually, ginagamit yung work ng internal auditor kung hindi mataas yung risk. Like for example, verification lang or sa mga recomputation lang, 'di ba? Yung mga ganung bagay internal auditor na natin kasi sayang naman yung gitinrabaho nila, 'di ba? It's okay to depend on internal auditors work. However, again, as part of an independent body, kailangan is meron kang mga thresholds na i-observe. Okay, mag-check ka pa rin. Okay. How about yung another expert or auditor's expert? So, sino ba yung auditor's expert? Yung auditor's expert na tinatawag natin is hindi siya part ng audit team, hindi siya part ng management na ino-audit natin. Say for instance, ano ba example ng mga auditor's expert? Say for instance, yung retirement pay, tinitignan natin kung anong valuation. Yung retirement fund ng isang company. So, ang expert na hahanapin natin dyan is actuarial services. Walang alam yung auditor sa pag-assess kung ano yung value ng fund, paano nako-compute. So, mag-hire sila ng expert. Okay? But that hiring of an expert should be added again doon sa tinatawag nating independent auditor's report. Kasi parang protection yan ng auditor na, uy, itong part na 'to ng financial statement, hindi ko yan masyadong na-audit. Ang nag-audit niyan expert regarding sa kanyang valuation. Kasi hindi naman ako yung merong appropriate skill para sabihin kung ano yung value niyan, 'di ba? Okay. What else? Okay. Accounting estimates. Okay, sa accounting estimates, so pag sinabi nating accounting estimate, these are appropriations. Okay? Hindi mo pa sure kung magkano yung actual na magiging disbursements mo or receipt. Okay? Kasi 'di ba sa accounting, ang basis natin is past transactions, nangyari na in the past bago natin siya gawa ng journal entry. But there are instances wherein wala pa tayong supporting document para hindi pa tayo magiging accurate as to the amount. So, the auditors also allow yung accounting estimate na ginagamit ng mga accountants because it is still under PFRS. So, ano-ano ba yung mga example ng estimates? Allowance for doubtful accounts, obsolescence, warranty obligations, and so on and so forth. Okay. So that's the end of your substantive testing. Okay. Again, remember, your substantive testing is dependent on your test of controls. Pag mataas yung risk of material misstatement from your test of controls, yung substantive testing natin, kailangan din nating taasan. Pero kung mababa yung material misstatement sa substantive testing, kailangan babaan natin yung diligence in performing substantive testing or rather yung sufficiency at saka yung sufficiency ng evidence hindi ganoon kataas. Okay? So that's it for your substantive test.